if this software, this training, this system, this masterclass, this coaching will be a right fit for you. So the team and I, we have been hard at work over the last few months creating and producing the software, and I knew that the most stressful part is literally this, which is not just creating the software, producing it, but marketing and selling it. And today in this video, I'm going to walk you through the exact pitch and the exact slide deck that I utilize to launch this software, where we got our first 100 customers during launch, locked in at our yearly plan. And today I'm going to walk you through exactly why it worked well and why it converts, so that you're able to utilize and model the same flow, the same languaging, regardless of what market and niche you're in. So I'm going to be taking you behind the scenes to a coaching call that I recently did, where I deconstructed it to my circle, to my community, so that you'll be able to do that as well. Let's begin. Right, utilizing like as though I'm presenting, right? But once in a while, I'm gonna wear this cap. What does wearing this cap mean? It means that I'm gonna explain to you like how I thought about the slide and what it is that you could be doing so that you can model the same principles, right? All right, and we are live. Welcome everybody to this session here today. Today is going to be a really interesting session, and you're going to find out why in a couple of minutes. But basically, today's session is where I'm going to be revealing to you literally behind the scenes to how I created my highest converting presentation of all time. Okay, and that's basically a few days ago. Some of you might have been at the event implementation week if you are at the Immerse or Mastermind. How many of you here attended last weekend's implementation week? How many of you were there? Okay, great. So if you were there towards the end of that event, you might have noticed that I made an offer at the end, and that offer that I made was literally the highest converting offer at that price point that I've ever made, and that was basically a conversion of over 50%. Okay, I've never ever done a presentation with an over 50% close rate, and yes, it was pretty insane. And today, how many of you here would like to be able to see the breakdown and the thought process of the highest converting presentation ever, so that you'll be able to model these elements in your presentations as well? So one of the things that I wanted to be able to do today is something that I almost never, it's very rare that I do this unless it's an event specifically on speaking and closing. So what I want to be able to do is to be able to walk you guys through exactly how that would look like, my thought process, how I thought about the arrangement of the slides, how to teach, answering objections at the same time, and literally achieving a over 50% close rate without utilizing a single testimonial. How many of you here would love to be able to create a killer presentation without utilizing a single testimonial? Show of hands, right? Now, the reason why I want to be able to deconstruct this today is because I know for the longest time, every time I talk about pitching and presenting and answering objections and case studies and testimonials, one of the most common things you guys would say is,
oh, but Peng Joon, what if I don't have any testimonials? You said, what if it's a new offer and I don't have, any type of testimonial to use?
Right? How many of you here have had that concern in the past before, which is I don't have any case studies? How many of you here would like me to go exactly like the thought process behind each slide, the reasoning behind it that you may not have realized when I did it, a couple of days ago? How many of you would like to be able to see that? What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to show you exactly what the pitch looked like. But as always, if you've ever attended, like Table Rush Secrets or virtual event codex, how many of you have attended one of those two events before? Show of hands if you have. Okay, so if you've ever attended an event, one of the things that I love, one of the ways I love teaching is utilizing the sidebar method, which is going into presentation mode, and then once a while stepping out of presentation mode, where, let me step out of frame for a second, where I will wear this cap over here, right, where I go sidebar, which means I'm stepping out of presentation mode. and I am going to explain and deconstruct why I said what I said. I want to be able to walk you through what are some of the different elements and the specifics that you need to be doing if you want to be able to increase the numbers in each specific department, beginning with this first one here, which is the number of leads, right? How many of you here would love to be able to discover how you can double the amount of leads you'll get next year? Show of hands. Okay, great. So let's do a sidebar. Okay, so first sidebar. Okay, so the way I always think about making any pitch, offer, or presentation. Okay, so notice what I'm doing right now. I'm starting off the conversation by I'm thinking about a specific result that I know my audience aspires to. Right now, what is the result? The result here is if you want to be able to double your business, if you want to be able to exponentially take your business to a next level, if you want to be able to get massive growth, okay, there are basically 4 things to do. So what am I doing right now? If you want to be able to get result, I believe, right, that there is a specific framework to follow, right? So now I'm teaching, right? All I'm doing is, if you want to be able to do this, I believe that there's 4 things, right? Item 1, 2, 3, 4. And therefore, if you want to be able to get result, then follow along with me, because I am going to give you item number 1. Okay, now, if you want to be able to do this together with me, guys, don't just listen to me, right? There must be some sort of promise, okay? Right? That's the big promise, right? The big promise is that if you are able to double each of these departments, you would 16x your business, and therefore it makes sense to listen to, I wonder how this framework works. Okay, so end of sidebar. Let's head back over to the presentation and see how it continues. Which by the way, notice how the usual engagement still applies. You know, once in a while I'm checking in with you guys, right? What am I doing? I'm saying, if you guys want to be able to achieve exponential growth, you know, type in the word exponential, right? Make sure that once in a while, every 5 to 10 minutes, make sure to check in with your audience, right? Get them to interact with you by at least, you know, talking to you, right? End of sidebar. Let's head back to the slides. So let's begin with phase 1, or item number 1, which is increasing the number of leads. The first thing that you guys have discovered during this whole weekend is we've talked about ads, right? This whole weekend we've talked about ads, creating different type of ads, and ultimately these different ads, what are they for? They are to help you get enough variations so that you avoid ad fatigue, so that you're able to get more leads and utilize these leads to fill up your pipeline. Let's pause 1 second. Now, before I move on to phase number 2, okay, even though I'm teaching, right, and I'm teaching, you know, and by the way, what I just said, everything I said is 100% stuff that you want to be focusing on, okay? But from the perspective of making an offer and teaching, right? We haven't made an offer yet, I'm still teaching. I'd like you to think about, if you have been training with me for a while now, what do you think I have been doing right up to this point? Let me know in the comments while I have some water over here. What do you think I've been doing so far? Okay, value marinate. What else? Answering objections. Objections to what? Let me know in the comments. What objections am I answering? Right? Nurturing. Give me specifics. What are some of the objections you think I'm answering as well? So notice that what I'm doing right now is I'm teaching something, but I'm also thinking about my audience and how my audience is thinking about the application of this, right? So notice how I'm getting you to say, right? So if you have a physical location, right, Google My Business is going to be more important. And if you have a digital product, right, your reputation when it comes to Facebook is going to be more important. So let me know in the comments if you feel number 1 or 2 is going to be more important than you. So please write down, get your audience to say what's important for them, right? Don't tell them, let them tell you, right? So all I'm really doing is I'm getting you to say,
Oh, wait a second, I think number 2 is important for me. Oh, number 1 is really important for me.
let's hit back to this presentation so that you can continue to see how I'm doing this, right? So, in fact, perhaps I can, let me just go back to this presentation, and after that, I'll write down different stuff that I'm doing that you might not, realize. Okay, so let's hit back to the slides. So, how many of you are starting to see why this process would help you exponentially grow your business in your industry? Show of hands if you're able to see this, right? Okay, great. Okay, quick sidebar. So before we move on to the next chunk, right? Here's what each and every one of you need to be doing in your presentation. So notice what I'm doing right now. What I'm essentially doing is I am coming from the angle of, right? I've shown the framework. I didn't use any testimonials, okay? And what I'm really doing is, for each of these components, I'm teaching, but at the same time, what I'm really doing is I am showing something, which you'll see in a second, that is actually related to my offer, okay? And all I'm doing is I'm showing the framework, but I'm also involving the audience. I'm involving the audience to tell me how it's applicable to them. I'm involving the audience, which is you, to start seeing, oh, wait a second, this makes a lot of sense, right? And now, please write down believability, right? If I came from the angle of, guys, you can 12x your business by getting more sales, how many of you here naturally will feel, I don't know if I can do it, right? Show of hands if you're going to feel that way, right? So, however, right, notice what I did instead. I'm showing an example. I'm demonstrating. Now, how many of you remember me saying that, right? I asked for permission. So every time before you go to your offer, the best way to transition to anything is just, is it cool with you if I took a couple of minutes to walk you through if this software, this training, this system, this masterclass, this coaching will be a right fit for you, right? So you can decide if we might be a right fit to work with each other, right? So notice that's what I did. Then, what else did I do, right? Some of you are saying value anchoring, demonstrate, ask for permission, right? Demonstrate, right? Remove all different different industries, right? So notice what I'm doing, right? I said, right, you could be in this industry, this industry, this industry. What am I doing? That's really answering objections. How do I know if this will work for me if I have a physical location? How do I know if this will work for me if I'm selling digital products? How do I know this will work for me if I have got a martial arts school, right? I'm taking everybody along with me. If you can involve them or at least demonstrate to them, that is when your engagement is going to be significantly higher, right? Which is what I've done before I move on to the next piece, which is the stack. Once I asked for permission, okay, and I demonstrated, okay, notice what I did after is I went to build the stack. But here's the thing about the stack now. It's like, I want you to notice like nearly pretty much every single item in my stack, right? Whether it is the reputation management, whether it's email, whether it's funnels, whether it's a CRM, whether it's appointments. Notice how every single thing in my stack, and this is the power of the value marinade, right? That we in fact talked about last week on the coaching call. Notice how every single item in the stack is linked back to something that I taught earlier. When I came into my stack and I entered and I said the first thing you're going to get Cardnetics and all these different items, I want you to notice the core difference between an average marketer that will sell a software like this versus how I did. Most marketers would sell the feature. Now, what is the feature? The feature would be, okay, so the first thing you're going to get is a reputation management software. See, for most people don't understand what a reputation management software does. They don't know the meaning or the result from this, right? Most people, if they come from the angle of, oh, the next thing you're going to get is you're going to be able to book your appointments and have a pipeline management system and a CRM. Again, most people might not understand the value of that. But because I talked about all these, or the majority of these elements, right? Having a follow-up process, a sales process, right? Following up with your leads. And I did it in a framework, what was that framework? I came from this angle over here, right? And I said, ultimately, if you want to be able to scale your business, you got to be able to do these 4 things well. Most of the time when people explain a component, they have to bring up the value of the component and try to build up the value of the component. Where else? Notice what I did. All I did is I brought back something that was familiar to you. And you're not listening to this for the first time, right? Now, when I bring this up, you'll be like, yes, this is a topic I'm definitely interested in, that I'm serious about. Why? Because this is how I'll be able to scale, right? I no longer have to bring up this new topic and say, here's what you're going to learn when you come, right? Because that's when it's going to lose its power. That's when it's going to be salesy. Next thing is, what did I do? After I built up the value of everything, what did I do? I justified the full value first, okay? Which is the question of, if all this did was, right? So what you want to be able to do is, if you notice what I did, okay? I made the whole stack, right? I built up the value, right? $10,000, but I justified full value, right? I justify so that the audience, you, will be able to see that even at $10,000, this offer that comes with 12 months enterprise version, that comes with the processes and the systems and the scripts and a live event to help you get this specific result. If all this did was, right? Please write down those words. Basically what I did was, I justified, let me share my screen right now. I justified why it's worth 10,000. And that's what you need to be doing for your audience. You got to be able to show your audience that even at the high price, it's worth it. Well, I hope you enjoyed the behind the scenes to this coaching call. If you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments below what your biggest takeaway is. And as always, be sure to smash the like button. It does help the channel out a little bit. And to subscribe to this channel if you want to be notified of future videos just like this one. Now, some of you asking me, how can I be part of this process? How can I ask you questions? How can I have you coach me or mentor me? We want to make sure that we are working with the people that's the right fit. You'll need to fill up a form. There's a link right below this video. Somebody on my team might give you a call to interview you to see if they're right fit for each other. And if you want to apply and see if you're a good fit, then all you need to do is click on this link in the description box below and my team will be in touch with you.